How much do you tell your real estate agent? Do you tell them a little? Do you tell them a lot in your pursuit for property? We're going to talk about it shortly. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
James Lamplow,
Mark Novak, good morning.
how good morning. Tell us about this topic. You inspired it.
Opening up to your real estate agent. I think there's a lot of angst people tend not to share when really, especially at the moment in the current market we're in. But all in all, it's a difficult time to purchase property as a buyer. So the more you tell your real estate agent, the more that we can actually assist. But I think a lot of the time people are very hesitant to provide any information, whether for emotional reasons, for whatever reason. But would you agree, Mark, the more that we share, the more that you get across to your agent, the more that they can try and link you to a potential property, a potential vendor, something that's in the back of their mind?
Yeah, look, I think naturally you don't want to. As a prospective purchaser, good morning, Anmel. Good morning, Noe. I think naturally as a purchaser, when you're going through open houses, agents are acting like they don't really have time, although, because they've got so many people there. Sometimes they're in autopilot. It's hard to open up. And I think you don't want to show your cards either as a prospective purchaser. It's almost a little bit, you just, I don't know, should I tell them? Should I not tell them? And you've got to, and part about what we're talking about today is, what sort of information should you be exchanging with your real estate agent? What sort of information should you not be exchanging with your real estate agent? Because at the end of the day, these are going to be the guys that are facilitating, guys and girls that are the agents that are facilitating your purchase and your dreams. So I think you've got to be really careful. Too much information is probably better than not enough information. And I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine sat with me and said, look, I want to buy something on the Northern Beaches. Opened up. So this is my situation. This is why. These are my motivations. These are my triggers. What I really like and don't like. And really, really opened up. So we'll. When I was like, but I said, look, you know what? Come to the beaches. We'll go for a cruise. We'll check out everything. We spent about 4 hours driving around. And look, fortunately, it's the pretty rare example, but I sold him a property for 26 million. But if he didn't sort of submit and say, yep, I'm going to come to the Northern Beaches and I'm going to spend half a day with you and learn about everything, and I showed him, like, I was like, this is Warriorwood, this is what we've developed, what we've helped developers build here, these are the resales we've done here, this is Warriorwood Square, this is Manly, this unit block just sold for this much, that unit block just sold for this much, this is DY, this is what we got DA approved in DY, this is what they paid, this is what they sold for, how much they profited. Went through Freshwater and said, this is Freshwater, and he was like, I really like Freshwater. But James, you got to have that open up attitude at the beginning in order for people to help you. You're right.
Yeah, and personal wins aside, like, that's obviously an unbelievable example, being able to make the largest sale on the Northern Beaches through that for 2020. But maybe people have this conversation with a couple of agents and they get a little bit more reserved each time because you know what it's like. You don't like repeating yourself and telling the same story to a new person and going back around that circle again. But it comes back to a show we did before, I think, Mark, where it's sort of like choosing an agent for life. And, if you can have this relationship from day one and you can build on it together, not as agent trying to make a sale or not as buyer trying to use the agent and, just soak up that information, which is fine to do. You build these relationships which won't necessarily carry on from just one purchase. It could be, another 5 or 10 or 15 years down the line, but you can come back together and these relationships last.
Absolutely. And guys, when you're out there meeting real estate agents, you don't have to like them all. You don't, and basically you won't like them all, and that's life. You're going to have your tribe when you go out. You're going to have your agents where you go, man, they're cool. I really like those guys, or I really like them. And you'll have ones where you go, well, that's just old and crusty. But you'll resonate with different styles of agents. Do you know what I mean? Those ones that you're going to resonate with, I urge you, spend time with them. Pop in the office and say g'day to them. And open up and tell them exactly what you need, and you will recruit them for your cause. If you don't, you won't recruit.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's not the agents being nosy, but it's trying to refine exactly what they're looking for, pair together the perfect properties, and on the back end, from the systems that we use on our side, we can then tailor the CRM, our what we're trying to achieve, the team that we're working with, to specific little things. And it might not come up for a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year, or 10 years, but the more we know, the more that we can refine those little things. So yeah, I think it comes down to, as you say, just get involved. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, and you're only helping yourself in the long run at the end of the day.
Now, we've been talking about locating of a property, and don't be shy with your agent, with information, with locating a property. But James and everyone that's watching, I do have to say that in negotiating, you can negotiate a lower price if you are not shy with your real estate agent. Believe it or not. Can you imagine a hostage negotiation if you hate the negotiator? Or can you imagine a hostage situation where you love the negotiator?
Yeah.
It's the same principle situation here. You can tell what I've been watching in television lately. But with your real estate agent, if you are more open in a negotiation, if you appear to be more open in a negotiation, it's more likely that the agent's going to be a bit more sensitive with you, a bit more compassionate with you, because you've been so open. If you're a closed book, you don't want to talk, you don't even want to have eye contact with the real estate agent, I can assure you it's going to be a harder negotiation. So that sharing information, that openness of information, and don't get me wrong, it goes both ways. You've got to get it from a buyer, you've got to get it from a real estate agent. A biscuit-faced real estate agent that's doesn't want to talk to anyone, that's potentially even shy, isn't going to help the situation. But the same thing with a prospective purchaser or a prospective tenant. Open up, give a volunteer information, and you'll find that will happen, and that will reciprocate, and that'll help it.
Yeah. There are thousands of different conversations that can be had on any person's journey in their real estate pursuit, I suppose, from whatever it might be. So the more you get to know them, the better your sort of long-term outcome and results will be. And it's like anything, isn't it? Synergy, working together not as a team, but as someone that's got each other's back. And then, yeah, it's quite basic sort of information, but you take that for granted, don't you? And you think that people always know, when really they don't have a clue until you have these brief conversations with them that leads it in the right direction. So anyway, it's food for thought for the
we're not buying a Mars bar from a convenience store. This is it's a high dollar transaction, and potentially a very high stressful environment, anxiety, all that stuff that people are going into. So everyone acts different ways. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I get that, but being such a sensitive time, it is just so important to have all your ducks lined up and have enjoy the ride as well. So that I think if you can go in with that attitude that we're talking about this morning, it's going to make you money. It's going to lessen your stress. It's going to give you more opportunities to find more properties, just by simply an attitude of sharing with that agent and sharing information with that agent and not being shy. It's that simple. And I know if you walk around during the day with a frown on your face all day, and you walk around with all day with a smile on your face all day, it's two different results. Much
Yeah.
what we're talking about today.
Yeah, very much so. I think that's a wrap, Mark.
That's a wrap. Smile. Get out there tomorrow with your real estate agents. Share information with the real estate agents. Don't worry about that and have time for you. Dump on them anyway, and have a good old chat with agents, and just that volunteer that information, guys. And even if they're busy, don't worry. Volunteer the information, and the ones that you gel harder. The ones you don't with, drop them and move on to the next real estate agent, and share. Don't be shy.
Good on you. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Legend.
Cheers,
Everyone,
mate.
hope it helped you. See ya. Bye.